Insomnia can have a really serious impact on your quality of life. Now, if you've ever struggled with insomnia, you don't need me to tell you that. So, what can you do if you're struggling to sleep? Now, over the years, many of our WhatSpa readers with insomnia have reported that hot tub hydrotherapy has been really beneficial for them. But we wanted to speak to an expert. So in this video, I speak to Alex Saxton. She's a clinical hypnotherapist, and I ask her, do hot tubs really help with insomnia symptoms, and does she really recommend it to her patients?
Hi Alex, thanks so much for joining me. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me here today. How are you?
Great. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Great. So shall we get started?
Perfect.
So for background, in this series, we're talking to a number of different experts and sufferers of a range of different illnesses. And what we're trying to do is kind of work out whether or not hot tubs and hydrotherapy, hot water therapy can be beneficial for treating these illnesses. So for this one, we're focusing on insomnia. But before we go any further, can I just get you to give us a bit of an introduction about yourself? So your name, your job, a bit about your background.
Yeah, certainly. So I'm Alex Saxton and I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. And I specialize in helping people who have anxiety problems, stress, phobias, and insomnia too. And I've been doing this for about 15 years now. So I started my hypnosis practices in London, where I used to see people for insomnia, anxiety, and phobias quite a lot. And then I got hired by a bank in the city of London to provide my hypnosis services to their employees, where I used to help their employees, CEOs, etc., with anxiety, stress, insomnia. I've also worked at luxury hotel spas as well, providing my services to their guests and members. Now, at the moment, I'm running my practice in Dorset, which is by the beach, which is lovely. But because, the wonders of modern technology, I can see my clients anywhere, which is fantastic, like what we're doing right now with Zoom. And just a little bit why I specialize in anxiety, insomnia, it's because I used to really suffer from it a lot. So in my 20s, hugely. So I can kind of relate to the pain points that people are going through if they have insomnia. And, for every sort of recommendation I give out, I've tried it on myself first. So just check it works. So, yeah.
Awesome. So what do you generally do with your experience with working with people with insomnia? What do you generally how do you treat them?
Sure. So it's quite fun. I'm usually the last resort, which sounds bad, but even in 2022, there's this really big sort of unknown about hypnosis, So people come to me when they've been to the doctor and they've been given sleeping pills, but that's a short-term solution. It's not a long-term goal by any stretch. So when they come to see me, they've usually tried lots of other things as well off Google or recommendations from friends. And there's just so many sleeping gadgets out there, aren't there? So people are overwhelmed at the moment. So I help them by using my main tool of hypnosis. Are you familiar with hypnosis at all, or do you want me to describe it a bit?
I think best if you
Again, it's that unknown, isn't it? What is hypnosis? So I like to describe it as a relaxing form of therapy that involves putting someone into a hypnotic trance state, which is effectively an altered state of consciousness that you go in through naturally throughout your day. So it's not something magical, but so it's something natural. When you're in that state, you're more susceptible for accepting changes in your subconscious mind. So your subconscious mind is a part of your mind that rules the show, really. It's the part of the mind that has our core beliefs, the way we view the world, our bad habits, such as nail biting or poor sleeping habits, for instance, our phobias. But when you're in this lovely hypnotic receptive state, the hypnotherapist's job is to lay down positive suggestions and visualizations to affect change. So if someone had insomnia, I put them into hypnosis and I would try and rewrite their sleeping story at the moment. So most people that have insomnia have had it for maybe months. They really believe they'll never sleep again. They're really low. And their bedrooms, in fact, become triggers to stay awake because they've had so many bad nights sleep in their bedrooms. So I go in, use my hypnosis. I use suggestions such as, you feel really drowsy when you walk into your bedroom. You look forward to going to sleep at night. When your head hits the pillow, you fall into a deep sleep and you sleep all through the night, wake up, feel amazing. And you're effectively imprinting on your subconscious a preferred sleeping habit. And that really helps. So Combined with that, I also teach techniques to help calm people's minds at night, because, you know, people that worry, that's not conducive to sleep. As you probably know, people have the worst thoughts in the night because they're tired, and that can keep you awake for even longer. And I also teach techniques to calm their bodies down in the day. And finally, I love to offer out really relaxing activities they can do in their free time that would help them sleep better at night too.
That's so fascinating, honestly. It just, yeah, it blows my mind. And it's obviously such a debilitating thing for a lot of people. And so insomnia is actually said to be on the rise in the UK at the moment, with I think it's maybe 1 in 3 people are suffering.
Yeah.
Do you know why that might be at the moment, or is it possibly the pandemic?
Yeah. Well, insomnia has been on the rise for so many years now anyways. I mean, it's modern technology, it's just changed so much. So for instance, I'll give you an example like Netflix, for instance. You know, normally back in the old days, you'd watch a TV program and you'd go, oh, it's time for bed, you'd turn the TV off. But now it instantly restarts something. So there's all these trappings keeping us awake at night with our screens, etc. So insomnia has been increasing over the decades, but obviously, certainly in the last couple of years with the pandemic, people are really uncertain about their future, their jobs. They're worried about catching this virus, their loved ones. So I've certainly seen an increase in people, because when you worry about something, your nervous system doesn't know the difference between reality and imagination. So if you're worrying about all these bad things happening to your job and your loved ones, you're going to be creating an influx of stress hormones in your body. And these stress hormones will effectively really affect your sleep. So definitely the pandemic has caused an increase in the insomnia sufferers.
Yeah, I read that it's called coronasomnia.
Oh, right.
Some sort of name they've given it. But what are the actual types of, are there different types of insomnia?
Yeah, so there are different types of insomnia. I specialize in stress-induced insomnia, so I'll go into more detail about that. So that's my forte. So stress-induced insomnia is when you are, you know, it's probably that corona insomnia would fit into that, but it's when you have an influx of stress hormones in your body, which makes it really difficult for you to fall asleep at night. And it dates back to the fight or flight response we've had from our ancestors, right? So if you've got chronic acute stress, maybe you're going through a house move or a divorce, you get high level of stress hormones. If you've just got a really stressful job and you're juggling family life, then you can have this continued stress hormones throughout your life. And also if you're a worrier too. So all of this will amount to stress hormones, cortisol, adrenaline, etc. And people start functioning in fight or flight zone, or the red zone it's known, and they probably don't even realize they're in it most of the time, but they are. And this sends a signal to the mind that we're in danger. So that can be broken down to 3 types. So you can have sleep onset difficulties. So your body feels so adrenalized it can't sleep initially. Then you have sufferers that can go to sleep fine, but then they wake up multiple times in the night, again, due to the stress. Because, and if you think back to the ancestors, it would have been really unsafe to sleep like a log, 8-hour stretches, you know, throughout the night. You'd be eaten alive by a saber-toothed tiger. So actually, if you look at their sleeping patterns were broken up multiple night wakings in the night, you know, so that's because they always felt they were under danger. Now, in this day and age, we don't have saber-toothed tigers coming through our windows, but we could have a boss sending emails, you know, before we go to bed at night, which is making us think that there are these predators out there on some level. And there's another type of stress-induced insomnia type, is that when they fall asleep, they sleep for maybe 4 hours perfectly, but then they get woken up maybe about 5 in the morning, can't go back to sleep. Again, it's caused by the stress. So that's the type of insomnia sufferer I deal with. And my goal is to, using hypnosis and other techniques, to reduce the amount of stress hormones in their body. So it gives a signal to the body, it's safe to sleep. You know, sleep is an act of faith, you know, so on some level you need to feel safe, you need to feel calm to be able to first go to sleep and to sleep through the night, essentially.
So interesting. And also, I mean, sleepless nights are awful. I've been lucky to never, touch wood, actually have insomnia, but having a sleepless night just writes you off for the next day. So I really appreciate that. And
yeah, the pains are horrible.
Yeah. So there's the phrase sleep hygiene is thrown around a lot. Can you define that for us? Yeah,
so sleep hygiene is a term used to describe recommendations for sleep. And there's a vast amount of sleep hygiene recommendations, or otherwise there's bedtime routines. And, you know, they can range from, I won't go into all of them, but have a very dark room, have no sound in your room, you know, don't drink caffeine and look at screens. I'm all for sleep hygiene, the common sense types. But what I do find can work against people is if they have a really extensive sleep hygiene list. I had a client a couple of weeks ago, and her sleep hygiene or her bedtime routine was 4 hours long. And it was shocking. It made me feel stressful listening to it. And, you know, God forbid she forgot to listen to ocean sounds whilst she was in a bath. You know, she then feel like she wouldn't be able to sleep at night. So sleep hygiene is great, the common sense of recommendations, but I would say to people watching this, do not get too obsessed and about it. Because if you speak to someone that, like perhaps yourself, who can sleep well, and you say, how do you sleep well? I mean, what do you do before bed? And most people say, oh, I don't do anything. It just happens naturally, which can be really, you know, depressing for an insomniac to hear, but it's true. You know, the more attempts you make and have a big list of sleep hygiene or recommendations, you know, you're putting pressure on yourself, which will make sleep harder.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So there's a lot of medical evidence to suggest that hot tubs and hydrotherapy, hot water therapy can be really beneficial as part of this sleep hygiene routine.
Yeah.
Have you had any experience of working with anyone with that?
Yeah, it's funny, Shima. I always recommend hot water therapy as in a relaxing activity. I remember I mentioned earlier, I always say, you know, you've got to do some downtime. And, you know, just thinking about, you know, hot tubs and hydrotherapy pools, and I can think of a number of reasons actually of why I would recommend them and they'd be useful. So firstly, the water therapy in itself. So if you immerse yourself in water, your cortisol levels, studies show they go down. So the stress hormones I was talking about, so they go down, which will make you feel calmer, and you'll go into that parasympathetic nervous system, which is conducive to sleep. You know, and there's this term, you know, coined called blue mind. From a marine biologist started this term, and he's written lots of books about it, about all the therapeutic properties of being in water and how it can calm you down and put you into this really nice meditative state. Now, he mostly talks about oceans, but there is a chapter and a bit about how if you can't luxury of being by the ocean, you can get that same meditative relaxation state in a hot bath, hot tub, you know, hydrotherapy pool. The other thing, other reason I would say is the massage benefits too that you would get. So massage again is really conducive for sleep. So if you think about it, if you're stressed, and people when they get anxious, they get stressed, the muscles start to tense up. And the reason for that is because your body is preparing for fight or flight. It's preparing to be attacked. So if you're getting to bed at night and you've got stiff muscles from all the stress you've accrued in the day, it's not going to be conducive to sleep at all, right? So massage is really important to relax those muscles. And in the hot tubs, you would have those jets pumping down the muscles, loosening them up, which would mean that when you did get into bed at night, your muscles would be a lot looser, and it would send a signal to the mind, yeah, it's safe to sleep. Another reason I could think of would perhaps the pain relief. There's pain relief reason as well, because again, people have maybe inflammation in their muscles, and that pain is really not helpful for sleep. It can make you uncomfortable when you get into your favorite position at night. It can also wake you up in the night too. So with the massaging and the relaxation benefits, you can reduce the inflammation in your muscles to help get rid of any pain that could be there at that time. And I forgot to mention as well, something I know from previous studies I've read, that when you actually have a massage, whether it be from the jets, from the water, or real massage, you release melatonin from your body. It releases in your body. And melatonin is that sleepy hormone that makes us feel drowsy, that naturally comes out when it's bedtime. So if you're getting that released in the hot tub prior to bed, well, your sleep onset's going to come quicker, which is good, you know. Another reason I would probably say is mindfulness. It's a great way to practice mindfulness. And in my practice, I'm always trying to get my clients to reduce the amount of time they spend engaging with these worries of what could go wrong, you know, or what has gone in the past, and reliving it in their systems. So when you have, if you're in it, whenever I go to the spa, I always love going to the hydrotherapy pool, and I sit there and I feel the jets against my body, and I just focus my attention on the feeling, of the pressure, the pleasure points. And then when you focus your awareness on a feeling, it's very easy to practice mindfulness and to allow those worries to fade away. So the less time you spend engaging with worries, the better. And last but not least, I'd say another reason I'd recommend is and this is what I recommend when people have baths as well, when you come out of hot water, your body cools. And when your body cools down, it tricks the body into thinking it's sleepy time, because naturally in the day, your core temperature is about 5 degrees higher than normal. And when you go to bed at night, maybe your bedtime could be 10 o'clock, your body temperature will drop by 1 degree. And the minute it starts dropping, your pineal gland in your brain thinks, oh, it's bedtime. So it releases that sleepy hormone melatonin that makes you feel drowsy, that brings on sleep onset quicker. So if you are having your, hot water therapy or the hot tub, etc., and you're coming out, your body's going to cool and you're going to have melatonin released earlier than it would have done, hence bringing on sleep onset. So there's quite a lot of reasons actually for why they're fantastic.
That's amazing. Yeah. And so if someone had a hot tub or they had access to a hot tub, how often would you say is best to use them? Is there a particular time of day? I'm guessing you're going to say it's the end of the day for insomnia purposes. And
yeah, so I would recommend, and the studies that have been done on this, they say an hour and a half a bit before bedtime is a really optimum time to have that melatonin release to bring on sleep onset, definitely. And if you can have them every day, well, even better. It could be your sleep hygiene, before bed, but an hour and a half is the recommended time.
Amazing. And what would you recommend that people should do or maybe avoid after having a hot tub or a hot bath near bedtime? Is there anything?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So certainly avoid alcohol, definitely. I mean, with any massage therapy, or if you're going into any sort of hot water, etc., you're gonna be dehydrating a bit. So alcohol is very dehydrating. So I would definitely knock that on the head. And someone might be watching this now going, oh, but I use alcohol to help myself unwind. That's my bedtime routine activity. Well, what I would say to that would be, well, you're getting your relaxation downtime from the hot tub anyway. So this could be a replacement. So a really good way to sort of cut back on the alcohol, because alcohol is really bad for sleep anyways as well. It can wake you up multiple times in the night too. So it's not an answer to make people have improved sleep by any stretch. People think if they get half cut, they'll have a great sleep, they'll pass out, but it will kick you in the middle of the night and wake you up. I'd also say avoid caffeine too, that's a dehydrator, and anything to really rev your body up at night. So I wouldn't have a hot tub and then go, right, I'm going to go on the Peloton and do some spinning. You're revving your core temperature up. And the whole point of it is, well, one of the factors is you want to cool your body down. So just relax, read a book, and avoid alcohol and caffeine for sure, and vigorous exercise. Yeah,
absolutely. So access to hot tubs can be a bit of an issue. Obviously, you've seen with the pandemic, with lockdowns, but also with people have family commitments, other work commitments, which means they're not able to sort of take that time to travel to a hot tub or a spa or whatever, like on a regular basis. Would you say if someone has a problem with their sleep or an insomnia, would you suggest that it's good for them to invest in a hot tub if they can, so they've got that access? Or
oh yeah, because I mentioned those 5 reasons. The thing that I find in my practice is, I'm always recommending these relaxing activities for them to move their body into the parasympathetic nervous system to help with their sleep. So I do offer things, I say, hot baths, hot tubs, or I say things like massage, mindfulness. And then hang on a minute, Alex, I most of them are quite busy people with busy jobs or families. I haven't got time to do all of those things. I haven't got time to do mindfulness or have a massage or have a bath. I can't do any of that. I've got half an hour in my day and that is it. So if the fact that the hot tub combines all of those activities in one, that would be, perfect for a busy person to fit in all of those things that are going to be helpful for their sleep. So yeah, definitely I would recommend one if they can.
Absolutely. So do you have any other therapeutic recommendations aside from what we've already covered?
Yeah, so I was thinking about this about the other day to my friend, and I said, there's been this real info. You mentioned the coronasomnia, and I was thinking there's something else actually that's sort of new and developed, and it's orthosomnia, and that is when people get really addicted to sleep trackers and sleep apps. Now, they are things I'm really against, actually. And when I have people come to see me,
Really?
yeah, when they come to see me to ask about and what they should be doing, what they are doing, and they say they've got these sleep trackers and they're monitoring it, I'm like, well, get rid of them straight away. They are so unhelpful, because people get obsessed with having the perfect 8 hours sleep. They get obsessed with having the perfect amount of deep sleep, all of that stuff. And if they don't have it, so let's say they woke up the next morning and they thought, oh, do you know what? I had a good night's sleep. And they get their phone out and they check it and they go, oh my God, I didn't have any deep waves sleep. I'm going to feel awful today. I'm going to catch a cold. It's really unhelpful, and it makes them even more pressured in that night to hopefully get a good night's sleep and to check their monitors and their trackers. So, and doctors as well have reported they've got an increase of people coming to them with this type of insomnia, as I have done. Before they invested in the sleep trackers or sleep apps, they didn't have any problems. So I would definitely say bin them. So, and something else last to say is, do activities that make you feel good. That's really helpful for insomnia, because you want to feel calm, you want to feel happy. And if you do activities that make you feel good, such as stroking a pet, hugging a loved one, doing something kind for somebody else, you're going to release oxytocin and you're going to release serotonin, and they're all hormones that make you feel calm and safe. And remember, sleep is all about feeling safe and being able to not have predators around you. So that's my last recommendation. But if you did want any more recommendations, I've got a YouTube channel where I offer out advice and hypnosis videos as well to help with sleep.
Well, thank you so much. This has actually been so fascinating, and I could listen to you talk about this all day.
Yes.
I feel like I've learned so much, and it's only been like half an hour. So I really appreciate that. And I think our audience are going to find this really, really helpful. So where can people find you? I think, so you mentioned YouTube. Is there anywhere else they can follow you or get in contact with you?
Yes, I've got a YouTube channel where I offer advice and hypnosis videos. And I also I'm on Instagram. So, YouTube, I'm Alex Saxton Hypnotherapy. Instagram, you can message me then, I'm Alex Saxton Hypnotherapy again. I'm also on Facebook, Alex Saxton Hypnotherapy, the same name. And you can message me on there, and I give advice on that platform too. And finally, my website, there's a contact form on there. And my website is www.alexsaxton.com.
Great, perfect. All right, well, thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, you're welcome. I've really enjoyed it. Thanks for having me.